Thank you, NHS, for everything that you're doing. Thank you.
I just wanted to quickly say a massive thank you to the NHS. You guys are incredible. Thank you so much.
For the last time, Sean, it's not more smart, it's smarter. Okay?
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Cooper and Taz.
Sorry about that, guys. Sean is currently learning English, so we're trying to help him out as much as possible.
And this guy as well.
Okay, proper intro. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Daily Footy and Other Sports with yours truly, Taz, and of course,
Sean.
late as
Sean
ever.
in my niece's room today.
I need to give him an auto cue. He's always so late. It's like pause, hi. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed yesterday's episode. What do we do? Transfer gossip, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Today we're mixing it up a little bit more, but we quickly do our Tom Moore update. He's up to 26.1 mil last time I checked. Still going up steadily. He's doing amazing. Yeah, fast approaching the 30 million mark. So we'll see if and when it gets there. You may have heard actually that last day or so ago we've been mentioning the darts and the fact that they're having a tournament from their homes, and right after we went off and recorded our video, I saw that Luke Woodhouse, aka Woody for all you darts fans out there, got the first 9 darter finish as well. What a weird stage to get the first 9 darter, but it's history at the same time. You know, he'll always be the first guy that's got a 9 darter from a televised home tournament, I guess. So yeah, we just wanted to quickly mention that. I guess had he done that about half an hour before we went on air yesterday, we would have probably told you that straight away, but we didn't get the opportunity to. So just want to sort of give you a quick update on that. What did we have next, actually?
Quite a few topics today. We've just discussed that we will try to bring up today.
Well, they are actually mainly football based, aren't they? We'll start off briefly touching on the fact that Watford have now joined Southampton and West Ham in I forgot the word now. Agreeing to a wage deferral. Sorry. You know, a really nice touch from all of these teams doing it at the moment. And similarly, Roma have foregone their wages for the next 4 months. So you know, teams are starting to pull together and really try helping out their staff members, you know, who aren't playing or coaching staff. I think Roma is actually paying the remainder of whatever staff have been furloughed. So, sorry, no, was that Watford doing that? Maybe they both are actually. Wouldn't surprise me. But it's really nice that they're trying to look after one another and obviously trying to help other teams. The flip side to that, unfortunately, we have to go back to Wuhan. What was the team called again? Wuhan Zall. So after about 104 days away from the country, the Wuhan Zall have basically returned back. Yeah, I don't know if the Spanish guy that signed for them has also come back. I'm guessing he hasn't. But they were greeted by a number of people in the full kit as well. I don't know what to start with this, really. It's alarming. I don't really know what to start with Wuhan Zall because I appreciate that a lot of these guys who are probably from Wuhan itself or in China, desperate to get home, but is this the safest thing to do at this current stage of current state of affairs.
Not at all. Because we spoke about this a few days ago. China was reporting 0 new cases. However, as soon as foreigners were returning to China, or people from foreign countries were returning, there were new cases coming about. So it's a
1,200
possibility.
released.
Yeah.
1,200 new deaths that we were unaware of, apparently.
There's a lot more in that regard. But no, I mean in the fact that since people were actually arriving from from different countries, China were then getting a second boom of the pandemic. So to have players returning, it is risky. We understand it is not a delicate time to be away from family and loved ones. Is not a nice thing to
Of course
experience.
not, no.
But
the fact of the matter is, I mean, they're only being allowed to come back because this rather risky and dangerous ban has been lifted somewhat in Wuhan, and I suspect other cities, maybe in other countries as well. I think Japan might have had a bit of a lift as well. So they're obviously using it as an opportunity to come back home, I guess, for a lot of these guys. But it doesn't make sense. It's dangerous. It's really dangerous. And for some odd reason, fans are congregating. And I looked at one of the photos, certainly not 2 meters apart, as if nothing's going on.
Exactly.
Am I going crazy here, or have I missed something? Have I? I was shocked when I saw it. It's really difficult to sort of, be firm and honest about this without getting quite angry about it. But it's really alarming behavior all round, and you're putting more people at risk. The second you start opening flights up in between certain countries and stuff like that, that's like your way of saying, well, the risk is 0. Everyone that was diagnosed with it is not anymore, and it's 0. That's not the case. For starters, we're having figures hidden from us as well, so that's not really a reassuring thing either.
Yeah. The whole point of what we're doing right now is like having 2 fans passionate about sports, talking and to help with the ambition of uniting other people in order to get along during this isolation period, everyone's trying to be together as virtually as possible. And we've seen, as you rightly say, we're in the realms of misinformation. We've heard recently a leaked information that Boris Johnson ignored vital meetings that could have given us a 30-day head start in trying to resolve this whole pandemic. And furthermore, we've seen even Donald Trump trying to defy the rulings of isolation, suggesting to his followers to march. So we are in a period where people aren't following regulations, and it's costing the rest of us dearly. And sports is a big factor because we need sports to help unite society in so many factors other than pure entertainment.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think something we said about a couple of weeks ago was complacency is the one thing we can't afford to have, because that's more dangerous. And the one thing that, whether we like it or not, we're going to have to do for the foreseeable future, even here. I hate to say it, but I don't want to see it, but we've got to keep this sort of lockdown in place, because that way people who are affected can be focused on individually, be treated where possible, be looked after. And then and only then can you sort of start seeing these numbers drop down dramatically. And I do believe it will be a dramatic drop.
Let's not get false hope as well, because today the number of deaths drastically did drop today, but it's still a huge figure of over 500 from it was 880, today is 530.
But it's 500.
500, around the 500s. But still, we've seen that like last week, it did drop to around 600, around 500, and then bounce back up. So we're in that period where you cannot risk it, and as Wuhan fans were very, very bad. Let's just say it like that.
it's a strange crumb of comfort that people are trying to hold on to. And I know Germany have controlled things pretty well. I know Singapore have controlled things particularly well, and I think that's, you know, a nation I'm really kind of impressed with, because their ruling has been very strict. And I think it's important that they did that, because it stops people from taking the mick.
Yeah.
And as a result, their numbers are very low. I haven't actually checked, but I checked quite early on. The diagnosed numbers were increasing, but the number of deaths, unfortunately, I don't believe were quite very high at all. I could be wrong, but but they also appreciate that doesn't give them an excuse to sort of say, right, let's open the doors.
Apparently, they have also hidden the real figures. Well, I didn't actually. Few friends that have gone through Singapore themselves share the link that even Singapore has been concealing the numbers. Everyone is concealing the true rate, or even the cause of death. But we're not here to talk about
No.
that thing. But we did have to bring it up in regards to the place where it apparently did come from. The club from that region has openly decided to return way too early.
Yeah, I mean, it's a topic obviously we had to discuss in depth at the start of our channel, and it's not one that we want to discuss in depth right now, but it does relate to a sport and unfortunately a team who are coinciding with a risk, I guess, and I think that's why it was important for us to bring it up. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Stop that.
So,
He's so needy. He wants to get attention from inanimate objects as well now. But no, it's interesting. I mean, I think it's a good time for us to move on. We didn't actually have too many other subjects to talk about, so I just thought, well, let's think on instincts, right?
I've got one, if you wouldn't mind, if you want me
Go
to
for
speak
it.
now. So earlier yesterday, AJ Styles had an emotional interview with a wrestling podcast. Should be with us next time, by the way, AJ. It was really sad. I think we spoke about it briefly as well when AJ felt, you said it yourself, AJ felt a lot of guilt that Luke Gallows and Karl Anderson weren't able to keep their contracts with World Wrestling Entertainment, and because he's the elder wrestler, he felt a lot of guilt that he wasn't able to sustain their contracts. I think it just shows how close them three were, and I don't think AJ should have any blame because he even got them involved in the illustrious Boneyard match. So
Well,
I
well,
thought,
to be honest with you, I mean, with AJ, it's he's probably one of the few people actually who's got proper history with somebody else who's been let go. Whereas I think the only other sort of like connected wrestlers I can think of are Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins, but both were let go, weren't they? So yeah, with Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins being really good friends, you could argue that both of them, because they've both been let go at exactly the same time. It's I don't know. It's weird. It's weird, but they're both being let go at the same time, so they're feeling exactly the same, and they've got each other to sort of console. But then you've got someone like AJ, who's a bigger name, and he's basically seeing two members of his OC, of the OC, being let go, and he's still there. I'm not saying it's like, he's probably, from a selfish perspective, he's like, I'm glad I've got a job, but from a personal perspective, he's probably also thinking, these guys are two friends, they're like brothers. They go way back, don't they?
yeah,
But yeah,
Luke
no,
Gallows was in
we'll call
TNA
them the NO.C from now on. I think that's probably the best way of. It's very heartless of me. Just popped into my mind. I
because
thought I had to say it.
he was because he was basically, and before he was part of Straight Edge Society with one of my favorites, CM Punk. Then he was part of Aces and Eights with at TNA. So Luke Gallows and Also, AJ
Oh
Styles
yeah.
have a very long history. And it's interesting, the whole how Vince McMahon even announced it. It's been reported that it was through a conference call, and he had to be quite blunt that every business has to make drastic calls because of the pandemic, and he just went straight for the kill. But he wasn't heartless. He just had to be a bit realistic, because a lot of wrestlers aren't going to risk their health to travel all the way to Florida on a weekly basis, as Artif said in our other show, that they are going to record these live. So you can't even commit to have so many people being there in the first place. So
I just
from
don't
business,
foresee him prioritizing. Well, like I said, you've got to just look at it like I reckon a lot of these guys will be asked back. Whether they say yes is another matter, but they're being let go because of the circumstances. You know, arguably some
yeah.
of them aren't really getting much airtime anyway, but it's the circumstances more than anything else.
Yeah.
Um,
One's linked to, so Carl Anderson's linked for NJPW, and the duo you mentioned earlier, Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder, everyone, in particular Cody Rhodes, would really want them to join AEW. Well, just rumors, and
that's
as you
weird.
said, they can go back to WWE very shortly as well. A lot of these guys, I
Well,
think that's a big possibility.
surely, wouldn't it make more sense to? I mean, I'm sure they've earned a decent amount. Wouldn't it make more sense right now to just stay in isolation and not try moving to one of these factions? Because, well, factions,
Exactly.
companies. Because ultimately, if they are offered a chance to go back and they do want to go back, then they'll do that. But what if they burn bridges by going somewhere else?
Yeah.
AEW in particular, red hot right now. So you go there and leave WWE behind, you're not going to be asked back.
And AEW might not even be able to do any more recordings. They're not allowed as of this moment. They've done a
Well,
lot of live.
I
Done a,
kind of hope that's the case, and it would make me feel better if they stop first before WWE because I rate them higher in terms of what they're producing right now anyway. So I'd love for them to sort of put their foot down first and say, what are we doing? Let's just call it a day for the moment. I know you wanted to talk a bit about ROONEY quickly, moving away from wrestling. Go on then.
You must be happy about that.
No.
So it's,
Well, I actually, for the record, guys, I actually said I didn't think this was that big a topic, but Sean was insistent that we spoke about it at least briefly. So here you go.
so ROONEY writes for the Sunday Times weekly columnist and a
Not
weekly
right.
column.
What are you talking about? He doesn't know how to read all right. What's wrong with you?
And there was quite a lot of big bombshells he actually wrote. Whether he was talking about MLS, the Major League Soccer owners exploiting their players, or that the fact that he believes Harry Kane would overtake him and being the record goal scorer for England. But the main bombshell, I believe, Taz may disagree with me, is that he has admitted that he believes the whole question, who's the better player out of Ronaldo and Messi, ROONEY has said he believes it's Messi, and that's a really interesting dynamic considering how close Ronaldo and ROONEY were after the Euro 2006 collision they had.
Yeah, but arguably, well, you're going to split. People are going to be split about this. You know, we'll have our own opinions. Whether we agree or not is another matter. And people are going to be split all around the world. For me, Messi's a more technically gifted player. Ronaldo has basically looks like someone who's worked his butt off to sort of get to the level he's at. And I'd like to argue that his level is higher than Messi's. His two-footed play is considerably better. You know, his left foot is better than Messi's right foot. His leap is incredible. You just have to look at some of the headers that he's done, including the Real Madrid one. I think it was Real Madrid. Yeah, against United. And maybe even Juve, to be honest. But
Yeah,
his as an athlete, as a pure athlete, he is considerably better, superior. So the thing is, you just look at certain elements of their play. You know, I'd probably argue Messi's footwork is better, but that's the thing. You can just keep weighing it out, and you'll be here a while. You know, you'll be talking about Messi's obviously got better left foot. He's obviously got a better right foot because it's their natural foot. But then you'll keep on listing certain statistics out, and it will keep flip-flopping between each of them. So some of them are sort of more factual, some of them are a matter of opinion, but that's just what's going to happen in football. Regarding Kane,
Yeah.
however, I would argue if he stays fit, yeah, he should easily surpass it. I don't actually know what his total is right now. Must be in the 20s, knowing his scoring rate. But I do fully expect him to do it. He's in his mid-20s. He's got enough time on his hands. But arguably, something like this pandemic is actually slowing down his rate. And you have to appreciate that, as good as Rooney was, and is indeed still playing, he did score against a lot of lower ranked sides as well. I think that's why some people aren't quite as impressed with him, in the international stage, whereas you didn't have quite as many friendlies, I think, back in the old days. So, and Bobby Charlton was a midfielder, not a striker like Rooney was. I mean, me personally, I think, and a lot of United fans say the same. Do I think Rooney is better than Bobby Charlton? No, I do not. Do I? Yeah. Am I more impressed with his goal tally compared to Bobby Charlton's? No, I'm not. But can I dismiss his record? No, I can't. That's the problem. I can't do anything about stats. Stats speak louder than words. But I also have the right to have an opinion on who I think is a better player. And for me, that's Sir Bobby, hands down.
Okay, that's an interesting statement you made there. First of all, yeah, Rooney hasn't even scored in the World Cup, so that defends him. But let's be brutally honest. Watch the World Cup 1966. England's greatest moment. The quality of football is quite poor. That's a reality. Charlton was a really good player, and he did shine against other players of not the same quality. But that's due to modern science. There's a lot of more technical things that are involved. My goodness, it took Wenger to convince players in England to stop eating chips as part of your diet.
How
So
dare
a lot of
he,
things,
depriving them of chips.
there's a lot of things that has happened for players in order to increase their ability. But let's flip the coin at the same time. During Charlton's period and Maradona's period, the defense was a lot more aggressive. You could get away with a lot more stuff. And if Messi was around Maradona's period, maybe Maradona, Messi would have injured himself with the horrific knee injuries that Maradona suffered. So it's a interesting situation, and Harry Kane has a better England structure. I'm not going to say team, I'm going to say structure, because the teams Rooney was a part was better, but they didn't have the best togetherness, unity, as has been raised.
Rooney had to deal with basically the same player playing alongside each other, Lampard and Gerrard. Obviously, that's another conversation for people. I mean, we picked our best PL retired team, and neither of them made it. For me, it was because I wouldn't have picked them anyway. But for many, it would have been a case of I'd have picked one but not the other, because we can't put them together because we've seen them in an England shirt and it doesn't work. Yeah, that's probably a good point for us to. And then in that case, we'll open it up to the floor. What do you guys think? I mean, do you agree with what's going on in Wuhan at the moment? Try to keep it sensible if you can. Do you agree with our opinions of Rooney's comments and indeed our responses to his comments? Yeah, but don't forget to leave your comments below, like the video, and of course, if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and spread the word. Yeah, get everybody else on board. And like I said, I mean, we'd love to get some of you other guys on our calls. So we can get your views on what you think is going on and how we can move on from this. But until then, everybody, Sean and I will of course see you guys next day, next video. See you later, guys.